Okay, warm welcome from Geneva, Switzerland. This is Reda Setki, and this is the launch of the commencement exercises for the certificate course in remote partnering practice. So this event is also being broadcast on Facebook, but we are primarily amongst friends, amongst participants of the course and the organizations who nominated people to participate in it. So we are first of all going to recognize and acknowledge the organizations that have made this course possible through their enthusiasm and contributions. So the ACT Alliance, British Red Cross, CARE, CordAid, the Humanitarian Leadership Academy, the International Planned Parenthood Federation, Oxfam International, the Partnership Brokers Association, and the Partnerships Resource Center, PACS, as well as Save the Children UK. So we have quite a packed agenda. If you're familiar with awards ceremonies, you kind of know what to expect. We hope this one is going to be exciting and that you will find value in participating and contributing. Participants who are here have worked very hard for several weeks to develop truly innovative, in some cases groundbreaking remote partnering plans, and this is what they're going to present, and we're going to try to tell you the story of the course today. So the point of these commencement exercises, I'd like to invite participants, if you feel comfortable sharing your webcam, just to show that there are actual human beings involved in this in this exercise. Please feel free to do so. If you're not comfortable with that, that's fine too. We'd like to recognize your achievement and progress through the course. I'd like to recognize that completing a short 4-week online course, however intense it may have been, is really just a beginning. And that's why we call it the commencement. We also want you to provide an opportunity for your partners, colleagues, families as well, who have been party to the course, as you've made sacrifices in many cases in your personal lives as well as your professional lives, to dedicate time to this, to come together. And this is our final time together as a community in the context of this course. So we're also decided to share this with anybody else who would like to listen in and get a better sense of what happened in the course. Hence the broadcast on Facebook Live, and I see we have a few people on, so I'd like to say hello to them as well. So to kick us off and to really set the mood and sort of give back, we've asked Catherine Russ to deliver the commencement address. So, Catherine, over to you.
Thank you, Reda. So I'm just really thrilled to be at the end of the Remote Partnering Online program and to be able to look back over some really impressive, productive and creative weeks. This course was demanding in that you had to find time, you had to find space from your busy working lives to complete a series of assignments, and this was certainly not a fly-through course that you could cut corners with. And so it's testament to your commitment and resilience that you made it through to the finish line. And for those who didn't make it to the finish line, we hope that you got valuable things from the time that you did commit to the course. So courses are always brought to life by its participants and the culture that they bring to it. And you certainly brought your enthusiasm and creativity to hand. From the outset, the course stretched you in all kinds of ways, from the technology you had to get to know and use, and the new way of learning in a variety of respects, and not through the usual lecture videos and click-through learning that you may have been familiar with. You were asked to bring your unique experiences and to add value to other participants' experiences as well. And I hope that when some of you got over the disappointment of not having an expert giving lectures, that you saw the benefit of this new learning approach, and that others also brought a richness to the course that a single tutor never could have. So I think it's safe to say that hearing about different participants' experiences and partnering contexts really helped us all to appreciate both the breadth and depth of this kind of working and how so many people are reliant on this form of working, particularly in the humanitarian sector. And we experienced the live and continually changing nature of this work, even when one of our Syrian colleagues had to leave the course midway because of insecurity in his own working environment. So as globalization keeps on globalizing us, not least the growing insecure places, we're likely to see much more remote partnering going on. And most of you will know that remote partnering is a new discipline with only early research and some newly designed tools and approaches at our disposal. This has meant that we didn't really have years of research or model after model to share. So this then left it a wide open terrain for discovery and co-creation and sharing of our experiences. Some of the remote partnering voices we shared with you in the community section was just that, giving you perspectives from people who have been struggling with this themselves and who are also able to share some of the things that was helping them to be more effective. So this course was uniquely designed to ensure that every part of the course is transferable back into your partnerships. So just to recap, firstly, the introduction of technology and supporting each other to get to grips with those new approaches. Most of you will now be in a position to appreciate what it's like to introduce new technology and into your partnerships, and how many of your fellow partners will need that reassurance and support to do so. Secondly, the informal spaces where you got to know about each other in a less formal way, like the remote coffee sessions, and got to see people's videos and creative expressions. These might have helped you to see the benefit of the informal approaches and how to build culture and trust in a relationship. And thirdly, in your peer reviews and providing written feedback to your colleagues. Feedback is a key skill we can always improve on, and I can say that for myself, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that having practiced our feedback is an invaluable skill we can bring back to work with our partners, both verbally and in written form. And I have to say, feedback is probably something we can bring in all of our lives in every respect. So I hope that you'll see a host of other ways that you can take your learning back into your remote partnering experiences, and that you see this as the start of the journey, not the end, like Retta mentioned earlier. And as you go back into your partnerships now to see how the implementing of your how the implementing of your plans will make a difference to your communications or your effectiveness, we'll be really keen to hear what has made that difference. What aha moments you'll be able to report back to us. So for those of you that want to continue on the learning journey, there's also the possibility of doing level 2, which we've already told you about, and we'll touch again at the end of the webinar. So I want to thank you all, whether you've completed or not. Your presence was very much felt and appreciated, and you brought all the early work that we carried out to life by your engagement with us and with each other on the course. So I also want to thank all the organizations that believed in this project and put the actual funding forward to make this possible. And these again are to thank, as in a proper award ceremony, ACT Alliance, British Red Cross, Care International, CordAid, Humanitarian Leadership Academy, International Planned Parenthood Federation, Partnership Resource Centre, PAX, Oxfam, and Save the Children. And now for the exciting part of the commencement event, back to Retta.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for this commencement address and for sharing your insights, and we can feel the emotion that went into the course having listened to this. I now want to very quickly fly through a kind of recap of what we actually did together, both so we can so nourish our own reflections and also to share with people who were not privileged to be a part of it. So first of all, who were we? Initially, we asked you for a lot of information, and we were a mixed group in terms of demographics. We were primarily folks from international NGOs, even though many of us work in the field and work in fragile contexts. We worked over half of participants are based in and work in the Asia Pacific region, and you can see that there's a healthy mix of management, team leader, and other roles of people in the course. A third of you had never taken a course delivered mostly or fully online before. So this was very much about discovery for you, but it was also for the remaining 2/3, something that was already familiar, even though the particular approach may not have been the first time around. So here is a couple of things. One, first what the course provided, and then what you from your own strengths were able to provide to each other, given that so much of what we did was grounded in peer learning and sharing. So first of all, we provided a structure with very strict, inflexible deadlines, a very, very hopefully useful sequence to keep you on track, to give you clear goals and deadlines. But this structure was grounded in a vision for remote partnering developed jointly through the remote partnership project that you can see expressed here. And that summarizes some of the hopes and aspirations, what we were aiming for in putting this learning journey together. Now, some of you may be familiar with the kind of e-learning where you have content to read, view, and download. You go through it alone. There may not be any discussion, and there's a quiz at the end, and that's how you get your certificate. This was not that kind of course at all. We use something quite different, grounded in peer learning, about learning together, recognizing what you know that no one else does, perhaps, about your local context, and recognizing the value of that experience and how we can co-create knowledge together, especially when we're tackling something that is new, that none of us really, there is no established expertise on remote partnering. This is just new for all of us. It's part of the new world that we are all figuring out how to operate in. And so we gave you resources to support your work. One of them, the remote partnering workbook, will be available more broadly. And we're looking forward to your feedback and inputs on the usefulness of that workbook that many of you referred to as you were developing your remote partnering plans. We also asked people, practitioners who are engaged in remote partnering from all over the world to share their experiences with you and to encourage you to do the same. And this is what you did throughout the course, of course. We also try to provide tools such as what we call learning analytics to enable each of us to track your own progress on many different levels, on multiple dimensions, to give you a sense of how are you doing and what are the areas where you need to focus or strengthen as you work through the course. And last but not least, of course, we had very strict certification requirements. We'd like, as you leave this course with a certificate, we'd like you to value that certificate, and we would like your line manager, your partners, potential employers in the future to recognize that if you went through this course, you have come out with something that is valuable to you and valuable to them. So you may be asking, how did we do? So what we've done is we've put some of the key indicators that we use together against the reference course, which we developed and ran with the World Health Organization over 2 years ago. So you can see that first of all, many of you, we had groups from individual organizations, and some groups had completion, one group had completion rate in which only a third of the participants actually finished, and other organizations had up to 90% completion. And overall, the mean was more than 2/3, which is quite remarkable for an online course where 5 or 10% completion is considered respectable. Our reference course is at 76%. So this is actually the only area where this cohort, this group, didn't quite perform as well as the reference course. In other areas, you actually wrote more, you actually made more significant changes when revising your work, using what you learned through the 4 weeks. You achieved a higher peer review rating. You wrote more when you gave feedback to others in the course, and almost all of you met this key requirement of giving feedback to 3 of your colleagues. So this is why I'm especially pleased to share with you this announcement that all of you who have qualified and earned a certificate in this course are invited to join the level 2 certification, which requires, of course, successful completion of this course, which was level 1. And we know that many of you have already expressed interest in becoming a level 2 certified remote partnering practitioner. So next is what we provided with each other, for each other, and we kicked off the course with a remote coffee trial. So we matched you randomly. We were complete strangers from most of us, and we matched you randomly, and we said, just get in touch, have a coffee with somebody. And this turned out to be incredibly productive, far more than even we expected it. And this is some of what you reported back to us about this experience. Second, we saw an exceptionally high number, 27 of you expressed interest in acting as team leaders for your organization, and team leaders made a tangible difference supporting participants, reporting back on how the challenges faced by participants, and making sure that because they knew their organization's culture, could come up with the best way to support each other. A third key aspect of how we learn from each other was, of course, a scholar process where you developed a project, you gave and received feedback to each other, and then you used that to revise your own. And that, of course, was the main focus for everyone in the course. One pleasant surprise was to see that many of you submitted remote partnering challenges from the real world, problems that you had not been able to solve on your own. And here are 3 of the 6. The remaining 3 did not have profile photos, but we also want to recognize them. We workshopped those challenges, and many of you contributed to supporting your colleagues in coming up with new ideas, new ways of thinking, new ways of approaching, or maybe established ways that are known to work well in these challenge workshops, which were again about peers supporting each other. Here's what you reported about your experience, kicking off an orientation week with a very positive attitude, including from people who were deployed in fragile contexts or working in fragile contexts. And we're keenly aware of the challenges some of you face just to stay connected to the course and actually successfully complete it. One particular challenge that was a recurring theme, of course, and this is true for all adult learners, was really the challenge of carving out time for the course. Nevertheless, what we saw emerge very quickly is that many participants organized their time, figured out strategies to progress in the course and to do it exceptionally well. When week 3 came, this was the week when we gave and received feedback and structured peer review using a set of criteria called a rubric. One participant described that week as opening my third eye for remote partnering. And almost all of you recognize the power of peer review, looking at other people's projects and helping them improve, just as you've completed your own project and your peers are also looking at your work and trying to help you as well. One of the amazing things that came up through the course is that many of you, some of you reported that you were already applying what you were learning. Typically, we call this the applicability problem in training. Usually it's very difficult to transfer back what you get from a course into the workplace. And in this case, we actually had people reporting that they were figuring things out while the course was still happening. And that was very heartening and hopefully very empowering for those of you who had that experience. Overall, many of you seem to experience the course as an eye-opener, finding it again useful and relevant to your work, and described very clearly candidly some of the changes that you were experiencing as you went through the course. So this is what you told us, but because you are in such great numbers here with us today, and you know the drill, as this is how we operated the discussion group throughout the course. If you would like to say in your own words what your experience of the course was, and if you'd like to share before we move to the presentation of these certificates and the commencement presenters, please raise your hand or type the comments in the chat, and we'd love to hear your voice now that both Catherine and I have shared our narrative, our story and insights from the course. And we know this has been a very shy and reserved group, so we hope that at least a couple of you will share, even though these were really already, in your own words, what you told us while the course was happening. All right. Okay, anybody? Okay. Yes, Gezahagen Kibrihana, if you could remind us where you're connecting from, the organization you're affiliated with, and then tell us what you would like to share about
from
this
Nairobi.
course.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Please go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Gezahagen, please go ahead. Tell us where you're connecting from, your organizational affiliation, and then what you'd like to share.
I'm affiliated with ACT Alliance. I'm based in Nairobi. I just wanted to say a few words to just thank you for the tremendous effort that the organizers have put in making this happen, and looking into all the updates and the resources that have been coming to the participants. One can imagine that this is not really a simple job. I know we have been struggling with the time and reading all the updates and commenting on that, but definitely the resources that have been coming and the intensity and applicability of the documents have been so really wonderful. And regardless of who has finished and who hasn't, I think I just want to say that thank you, and this has been a quite a significant work on your part, and I just want to appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you, Gezahagen. We'll be hearing from you when you present your remote partnering project in a few minutes. All right, let me now go to Mohammed Amar. Mohammed, please go ahead. And if you can tell us where you're connecting from, your organization, and then share your thoughts about your reflections about the your experience of the course.
Very quickly, I'm Mohammed Ammar, working with Oxfam in Gaza, part of Palestine. So first, I would like to thank you, Rida, and the organizers as well, and my colleagues who commented and reviewed my plan. My point is this course actually encourages me to transfer the current, let's say, contingency plan for Oxfam and its implementing partners, specifically in Gaza, into real remote partnering contingency plan. Actually, it's in our agenda internally as a partners, Oxfam and Ma'an. And this may overcome the main challenge here in Gaza related to the security concerns and how to deliver the program during the security and emergency situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. All right, I saw at least one other. I believe it was Jeremiah. Jeremiah, I believe you had your hand raised as well. Please go ahead. Tell us where you're connecting from, your organization, and then your reflections on your experience of the course.
Hello everyone, this is Jeremiah Kariuki. I work with Save the Children and currently I'm in Nairobi. About the course, there were lots of learnings from the course, and some of the things that we actually take for granted, we don't actually take them seriously. We had a lot of time. I had a lot of time to reflect on them, especially on the partnering process. Actually, my plan was based on the context of Congo, where I've been working for quite some time, and the challenges that I had gone through there. And when I went through the course, I realized there are so many things that I had overlooked, and now this course is going to help me organize the whole partnering process. So it's quite applicable, and also it gave me an opportunity to run on a few tools, or rather to use a few tools that I also kept on overlooking, like the coffee meetups, the use of voice and video and all that, which I believe I did a good work when I was doing when I was preparing the plan. So thank you to you, Reda, and the team for organizing this course. But also, I think it's something that we as participants are going to take forward. Also, something else I took note of was actually how we as the student team leaders organized ourselves. Maybe something again that we are not looking at generally when we are working in the field, but how we organize the four team leaders and how we delivered in terms of organizing the other participants. That was also very useful and something that I also take from this course. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah. All right. And then we have Patrick Obongi. Patrick, please tell us remind us where you're connecting from, your organization, and then your reflections on the course. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yes, good afternoon, Reda. Yes, I'm Patrick Abongi. I'm connecting from Kampala in Uganda. And I'm happy I've been joined by my colleague, Joel Dengel, our male officer in the project I work with. Partnership and meal officer. I'm trying to been sharing with him the process, the challenges I've been going through, balancing the study with our work. And as a person who is responsible for partnership in our project, I'm encouraging him to join, and that's why I invited him to join me in this session to follow up what it takes, so that I had a personal challenge with developing my remote partnering plan. And this is I know why, so I'm trying to make sure he understands that in order not to repeat the process I went through. Otherwise, for the reflection on the course, I really liked the plan itself, the development process, with the guides and the support on reflections given by the comments given by the colleagues and the scholar team were very, very useful. I also was very excited with the experiences, especially the workshops from the colleagues, that I learned that it's not only me and a few of us who are struggling with working with partners and consciously, but it's a common challenge that collectively out there, when you reach out to somebody, you get more support and the reinforcing confidence that whatever we are doing is actually right.
Okay.
Was so useful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. All right, we have Maria Isabel Navarro and then Sumaru. So we have 2 minutes left for this to hear from you. So I'm going to ask you if you can be concise. We'd love to hear from you. Just remind us where you're connecting from, Maria, and the organization you're affiliated with.
Okay, hi, I'm Isabel Navarro. I'm the Food Security and Livelihoods Advisor of Save the Children UK, but currently here in the Philippines. So just to make it short, what I really like about the course is that it actually gives me a confirmation and a validation of what we are currently doing in the field, that from the plans that we have made and then from the feedback we got from the peers and as well as reading through all the plans of other people, that what we are doing is exactly what is somehow, I would say, proper, the correct way. So it somehow gives me that pleasure to be able to confirm to myself and to be able to validate that what we are doing is actually what other people think should also be done right. So that's about it. So thank you very much, Catherine and Reba, for this.
Great, thank you, Maria, and thank you. Sorry to encourage you to rush with your comments. This is about sharing reflection, but we also want to move to the participant presentations and share the list of participants who will be receiving their certificates. Sumaru, over to you. You'll need to unmute yourself, and it looks like you'll be the last one to share your reflections about the course. Please go ahead. Sumaru, you'll need to unmute yourself. I know we heard from you earlier.
It's fine, yeah? Yeah. Hello?
Yes, we
hearing
can
me?
hear
Yeah.
you, Sumeru. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm Sumeru, working with Oxfam in Nepal as Humanitarian Preparedness and Response Coordinators. And just the title of my remote partnering plan is Local Humanitarian Leadership Development through Remote Partnering Practices. And in Nepal, we are working with nearly 45, 47 partners across 23 districts of 7 provinces. And regarding the capacity building and humanitarian preparedness part, it's a really challenging job to monitor, support, coach,
Sorry,
and
Sumeru, we're going to be asking you to present your plan, but right now we just want your feedback on the course and your reflections on the course. We'll be moving next. The next item on the agenda is the participant presentation.
Yeah. All these things are made easier by this remote partnering course, and I could learn from other colleagues how they are practicing this sort of partnership management and how they are managing their partners remotely. That sort of reflections helped me a lot, and the review from my colleagues on my remote partnering plan was really grateful, and that was also helpful, and it makes me more it helps me to validate my ideas because they provided me great ideas, because peer review is a really interesting one, and it provided us the real guidance, are we on the track or not, and that's how I could finalize my plans. And it was really a great opportunity for us as well to learn the global how other organizations, other colleagues are doing on partnership management, and that can be reflected on our own modality as well. So that's how I found it really interesting, and the course teams was really helpful, and they provided technical supports, guidance, and the platform learned and was also some ideas how we can manage partners remotely as well, like Facebook update live and YouTube live video uploads and like these things. So that helps us to manage our partners remotely, and tools how we can use these as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sumeru. All right, so now you will be receiving beautiful certificates by email. Today, we would like to, with Catherine, read the names of the participants who, through their effort and dedication to the course, despite many challenges that were faced, managed to complete the final version of their remote partnering plan. So, Catherine, if we could alternate, I will start with the first name. If you could read the following one, and we will make it through the list it'll take. Yes.
Sure.
So, Magloire Abal,
Patrick Abongi,
Rawa Abu Al Nasser,
Shamnaz Ahmed,
Lubna Al Khaldi,
Mohammed Amar,
Sophie Baumgartner,
Maria Teresa Bayombong,
Mark Cervantes,
Melaku Merga Kameda,
Ruben Shepkonga,
Roslyn De Vera,
Hala Elsus,
Regina Florendo,
Gezahagen Kebede Gebrehana,
Vishnu Gotame,
Shem Gurkan,
Mohammed Eid Hamsho,
Yusin Huang,
Sylvia Hainoka,
Makumu Jean-Pierre,
Tariq Kadir,
Ingrid Kamikaze,
Jeremiah Karaoke,
Natasha Kaur,
Perry Sami Kes,
Romain Las Juillarias,
Hannah Lindley Jones,
Emma Livingston Jones,
Carla Lovato,
Benoit Martin,
Daniel McCartney,
Maria Adelma Montejo,
Dennis Mugi,
Patricia Moikenda,
Elizabeth Mayando,
Maria Isabel Navarro,
Nicola Iris Padamada,
Anat Prague,
Robin Rusoff,
Jade Said,
Yaman Salam,
Gordon Simango,
Alexandra Shranjev,
Dragana Stojanovic,
Lauren Murray,
Sari Mutia Timur,
Sumari Tripathi,
Milka Vasiljevic,
Jason Vogt.
and Hannah Woodley. And with apologies to anyone whose name we mistreated. So we really want to congratulate each and every one of you for the effort that has led you to this commencement. And again, the beginning of what we hope will be productive use of what you gain from the course to further your remote partnering work. If we were together in a room, we would clap. So yes, I see from Maria Isabel Navarro, yay, mabruk to the graduates. From Regina Florendo, cheers. And if you'd like to add in the chat, yes, or maybe actually let me unmute our microphones and maybe we can do a clap. So if you could all unmute your microphones. Go ahead, unmute yourselves just for a few seconds. Yes, if enough of us do it, we should be able to do it. We should be able to do clapping. All right, great. All right, now let's move to the presentations. So we asked people to either nominate themselves or nominate others, and 5 people stepped up. We weren't sure about a couple of you actually being able to make it for various reasons. So let me just make sure, yes, Shamnaz Ahmed is here. And what we're going to do here is we are going to enable Shamnaz to share her screen. So let's start by unmuting. And again, all of you having participated in the course are familiar with the merciless timer. So we will be ruthless to keep everyone on time. And Shamnaz, how are you doing? You are the first one to be nominated and therefore our first presenter today. Shamnaz.
Yeah, thanks, Reda. I'm good and I'm excited.
Great. Yeah. All
Hello?
right. Yes. So let me make you the presenter. I believe you have a slide presentation.
Yes.
Okay. So you should now see a prompt inviting you to present. Yeah. There. That's wonderful. Okay. And we should all be able to see your screen now. So I'm going to hit the timer and you have 6 minutes to share your remote partnering plan. Thank you for being the first one to step up. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Reda. So my remote partnering plan is named as a strengthening horizontal partnership among local and national organizations for local humanitarian leaderships. I am working with Oxfam and I'm working in Bangladesh where we are promoting strength sharing among local organizations and partnership brokering among local organizations where local organizations to have a greater and a stronger humanitarian response in different levels. So So my objectives of this plan was to facilitate the discussion among local organizations about working together and initiation of working and collaboration among each other through memorandum of understanding or agreements or other ways of working through which they can contribute and collaborate with each other for a greater objective. So the context, sorry for the image quality. So I am working in Bangladesh and you can see that we are working in the north, we are working in the Har area, that is the northeast. We're also working in the southern area. You can see this red zone, which is a cyclone prone area. And this is the southernmost part of Bangladesh. And I am based here. This is Dhaka. I am based here. So from here, I need to manage here, I need to manage here, I need to manage here and here. where there are multiple types of geographical differences. Like there is a cyclone prone area, as I was saying, there was flood prone areas like this, flood prone areas like this. This is also a crisis affected area now, Rohingya refugee crisis affected area. So it's a different kind of working environment that we are working in, and the transportation is really challenged during the work that we are doing. So for doing this partnership plan, what I considered is in the broader head is the power dynamics among the local organizations, the coordination role played by the government and also by the local organizations, the competition among the local organizations, which also puts them in the risk of branding and visibility, the trust and understanding among local organizations, where there are different local organizations which have different types of mandates and different types of priorities, but they also are not very comfortable with each other. Working together for a common purpose is very rare. And then there is, as I was saying, that conflict of established interest or different priorities. Some of the people are more engaged with the good governance process, whereas others are involved in delivering the response and others are involved in advocating with the government to strengthen the system. And the branding risk that I was saying. So to visualize, what I see is like these partnership at the districts, these are getting influenced by the power dynamics, coordination and competition. And all these are the considerations for my partnership plan. And from there, when we are having this discussion, we are planning for this partnership, that how it can be improved. So we do this action, trying to have these discussions among the organizations to collaborate with each other, to find niche areas to work together. And then how did it, and after that activity, how was the reflection and the learning, and then preparing for the next action. So after each action, if we do these things, then the partnership becomes stronger and strengthened through this approach. So what is my remote partnering plan actually? So my partnering plan is to facilitate the conversation between the districts for strengthened humanitarian response, so the disaster affected community get the aid that they need when there is a disaster period. We are also planning to have a partnership broker organization who can discuss with them about the benefits of working together, and also that also discuss about this point that it is okay to not to work together when there is a difference of purposes and difference of vision and objectives. And then we are also preparing video clips, collecting video clips from other parts of the world, like our similar project is going on in Uganda and Philippines, where there are such kind of examples of videos. So we are showing these to our partners so that they are also impressed with the idea of working together. And then we are also suggesting them of developing their own partnership principles, so that which are the principles that they can work with, the organizations can work with, so that they can work together. And also facilitate distant meetings. Like last time, what we did is like through a Skype meeting, I was connected with my partners, representative of my partners, and we were discussing.
30 seconds.
Yeah. What was the discussion and how it was, and then also considering it as a component of capacity development, that how partnership is done when it is as a part of the capacity development. And also we assess the current status of partnership, where we see that there is a zero partnership approaches within the organizations. And also it is a practice of giving more access to information, giving more access to knowledge and best practices. So I would finish here. Any more questions?
Okay, thank you, Shamnaz. You're right on time. My question for you, with respect to the plan, can you tell us what is the single biggest change you made between the first version of your plan and then the final version once you had received feedback from your colleagues?
The single biggest change was the visual. I didn't use any visual. So that was the biggest change that I brought in. And when I was doing this visual, when I was trying to develop this visual, it gave me clearer idea about my own plan, where I was not clear where it was working and where it was not working. But when I was working on the visual, it became more attractive and more clear to communicate with others.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. There's only one comment of praise from your colleagues. Thank you, Elizabeth Mayendo, for taking the time and the consideration to recognize the work of your peer. Elizabeth says, very good presentation. If others would like to share their thoughts, showing a little bit of consideration for the presenters would be very much appreciated. Thank you, Shamnaz, and for being the first one to step up and for sticking on time and for putting together this presentation. So let's now go to Sumaru Tripathi, who says, great, Shamnaz. And Shamnaz thanks Elizabeth for her appreciation. So, and in fact, okay, Gezahegna Kebede Gebrahana says a good presentation and being the first one. So let's now go to Sumaru. So just to reassure you, to become the presenter, you'll get a prompt with something that we do, and you'll get a prompt and you'll be able to share your screen. So just have your presentation ready. Robin Russoff says the diagrams were great, Shamnaz, about your presentation. Very interesting that was a big change that Shamnaz described as having given her new insights. So Sumaru, you should now see a prompt to present, to share your screen. So please accept the prompt. Yes, perfect. All right, and your microphone is on. Are you able to hear and speak? Sumaru, we cannot hear you. You may need to unmute your microphone. It looks like you're unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. This is Sumeru.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Are you hearing me?
Yes, the timer now starts. You have 6 minutes, Sumaru. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Yeah, namaste everybody. I'm Sumeru from Oxfam in Nepal, and just I'm working here as Humanitarian Preparedness and Response Coordinators. And my remote partnering plan's title is Local Humanitarian Leadership Development through Remote Partnering Practices. And actually, this is my content. Next one is acronyms, and my partnering plan's objectives is to assess the recent level of capacity, humanitarian and DRR program implementation capacity of Oxfam and its implementing partners. And another one is to build the roadmap for humanitarian capacity building based on this assessment. And another one is to make the strategic partners of our 5 provinces where the Oxfam is implementing its projects and make them familiar to use modern means of communications. These are my objectives of these remote partnering plans. And Oxfam is working, it has its operating office at Kathmandu, central capital city, and we are working at 23 districts. These districts are scattered from east to west, and we are working all together with 47 local NGOs covering 23 districts. And we have implementing different projects from different departments and programs, and we have 4 program pillars within the Oxfams. And it's really difficult to monitor or build the capacity of the partners. Because this is the map of Nepal, and we have altogether 7 provinces, and we are working in all 7 provinces, but we have very less presence in province 1, but we have working in other 6 provinces very intensively. This is the context, and we have 4 program pillars: humanitarian DRR, WAS, food and economic empowerment, gender and protections. Each program is implementing their projects through the local NGOs having the sub-grant contract. And the problem is that we are trying to build the strategic partnership with some strategic partners in strategic locations, but because of money and because of funding problems and willingness within the senior management teams, likewise some remoteness and others dedicated staffs to travel is the barriers to address the challenges we are facing now. And my remote partnering considerations is that we can, this is the map where Oxfam is working, and this shows the boundaries and districts where the Oxfam is working. And actually, my approach will be to monitor the work of partners and Oxfams remotely by using different means of communications like WhatsApp group messaging and email, circulating emails and collecting informations and report collections through email addresses and communicating information, quick communications through Facebook Live as well. So we can create the Facebook group and we can be the live. That's how I'm planning to address these challenges. And for this, I have planned some activities here to implement and how these plans can contribute my remote partnering aspects is that first I'm starting this activities has just started individual self-assessment of Oxfam and partners, and this will be contributed. This will contribute to acknowledge the recent status and help to build the capacity plan for the coming years. Likewise, a consultation on findings and capacity mappings to the national and national stakeholders. Likewise, external and internal stakeholders. So this will help us to make how we are going to make our plan implement. And after understanding these plans, then we are also implementing contingency plan preparation and simulation exercise, and we will involve the partners and others remotely as well. So that will help to develop the practices within the organization, how we can contribute remotely between Oxfam and partners as well. Another one is facilitating and technical support to government line agencies for developing district preparedness response plan in 5 districts. These are the activities I'm planning to implement, and this sort of a plan will enhance the capacity, IT use capacity of partners, NGOs, and Oxfam staffs, as well as there will be the WhatsApp group messaging practices. Likewise, there will be the formats will be received from modern means of communication. Yeah, humanitarian response will be quick and effective by the use of modern means of communications and strategic partnership. That's how I'm planning to make our partnership effective. Thank you.
Okay, 10 seconds early, Sumaru. Thank you very much for your presentation. Some additional comments, referring back to Shamnaz's presentation, Patricia Moikenda, the pictorial are more super explained clearly. Thanks, Shamnaz. Shamnaz said, thanks a lot, all of you, for your appreciation. Thanks to the people who've given me the feedback. That really helped me a lot to revise. And Gazaheg Nkibide Gibrahena says, great work, Sumaru. Happy to have consulted with you virtually and in person about our plan. This is the famous meeting in Nairobi, I believe. Let's, any more comments for Sumaru Tripathi with respect to his presentation? So let's go now to our next presenter, who is in fact Gazaheg. So I'm going to shift presentation rights to you and unmute your microphone. You should now see a prompt to share your screen, and we have the timer ready for you. Before we go, yeah, that's a good point. Catherine reminds me, Sumaru, before we go to get the next presenter, Sumaru, could you tell us what the biggest change you made between the draft version of your plan and the final version? And also, I'll add a second question. What is your next step to actually move forward with this plan?
Actually, in my draft versions, I was only putting the province level structure showing map. And recently, after receiving the feedbacks from my colleagues, I put the Oxfam working areas a clear showing map of Oxfam program districts in Nepal where the Oxfam is working. And another one is I added some elaborations on my remote partnering plan as well, and I corrected on the pillars, Oxfam working program pillars as well, because I mentioned there are 4 pillars, but I wrote only 3, and that I corrected. And another one is I put the content page, likewise acronyms page, and I changed the title local humanitarian leadership development, and these are the major changes I made. And on the part of impact as well, I have added some extra 1 paragraph after receiving the feedback from the partners to make it more realistic and to make it more effective as well. So how the remote partnering plan will change, what will be the impact or evaluation process. I made it quite elaborative one. That's
Okay.
right. And after this plan, I presented this plan to my managers, and manager is agreed to implement this plan in Nepal. And now I have started the assessment process, and I have circulated the planner. So I also received some fund to do the assessment in Nepal humanitarian DRR program implementation capacity from our regional offices as well.
That's quite an amazing story. If the plan, something that you developed for the course, you've now secured support and funding to implement it. That's amazing, Sumru. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so let's now go to Gezahegn. Sorry, I missed a beat. It's important to hear you after once you finish your presentation. Gezahegn, you are ready. You are already sharing your screen. You have 6 minutes. Can you hear us, and are you able to speak before we start the merciless 6-minute timer? Okay, Gezahegn, I'm not able to hear you. Maybe you need to unmute yourself or check your audio input or your microphone.
Is unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly. Okay. Are you ready, sir?
Great. Yes, thank you.
The merciless timer starts now.
Okay, thank you. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. And I'm Gezahegn, working for ACT Alliance, based in Nairobi as representative of Africa. And I'm presenting my remote partnering plan. And as you see, I will start with the scene first. And as you see at the right hand, top right hand corner, you see a picture which actually indicates that partnership is not a straight line thing. It's kind of a puzzle, and it requires also 2 sides to make it happen. So that's basically the essence of that picture. So ACT Alliance is a global network of about 150 members, Christian organizations working on development, humanitarian, and advocacy work across the globe. And I'm responsible for 46 of them in Africa, who are members situated in 26 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. So in each of these countries, there are about 5 to 8 members organized in what we call forums. And the unique feature of partnership in my case is I'm actually dealing with partnership within partnership, because these 26 countries, each of them form their own forums, and the members who come together as a forum, that actually cell itself can be considered as a partnership. So I think the dealing between individual members and at a different level with forums makes it a kind of a 2-tier partnership. This is a scene in which we operate. The forums are my primary contacts and the cells of the partnership. The objective of the partnership is to improve effectiveness of engagement of members. As I said, in each of the forums there are different members. These are national members, and also members from the north, international members who have got operations in different countries, and also to demonstrate the value addition of the secretariat which I represent, because we do not have country offices or projects that we run, and our responsibility is to really make sure that these forums operate in a way that the organization has identified itself. Some of the considerations for my partnership planning, the geographic spread of the members, as I said, in 26 countries. Weak connectivity in most of these countries, and even myself here connecting with you has got some kind of challenge. So how do you really engage with members in the context of weak connectivity? Multiple languages are spoken, English, French, and Portuguese. So how do we really engage, with those parameters? Adherence to partnership principles, particularly diversity, equity, openness, and mutual benefit. This needs to be at the top of the engagement principles. So these are the considerations when I really look into partnership building. And the approach is an enabling approach. How do we really enable members and the forums to really understand what the context within which we came together as one entity, and focus on what works best rather than what actually doesn't work, and explore alternatives and try to demonstrate that whatever we are able to really benefit from really is accessible by every member. And empowering members and forums is the other approach, and by which we clarify roles and responsibilities and acknowledge and reward some of the good work and successes that each of the members and forums really demonstrate, and encouraging learning from mistakes and failures. We don't necessarily look into failures as failures and nothing to really do with, but we try to really learn from them, and linking them with forums in other parts of the world. As I said, we operate in 150 members in different parts of the world. So how do we really make sure that we learn from operation of those members in other parts of the world? So the plan looks at facilitation of memorandums of understanding. That's the key kind of concept and key fundamental document on the basis of which forums operate, to understand what their exactly responsibilities and roles would be, and agreeing on and developing communication protocols. How do we really communicate with forums and with each of the members? How frequently, how often, and what kind of tools are used? How do we really share learning and issues that are pertinent to members? And developing a joint risk management plan, and everything has to deal with risks, and how do we really do with, together. Organizing annual forum meetings. This has helped us, the engagement is virtual, but once in a year we can come together and see how we move together, strengthening the communication functions, developing a monitoring mechanism, and also looking at how we go together. So the impact is a better understanding of policies and procedures of the Alliance, and minimizing backlogs and program implementation and reporting.
Seconds.
Basically, that's what we have seen. Yeah, that's what we have seen. And there is a clear kind of engagement and trying to really look at possibilities of how do we improve on our plan in the future. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Gezahegn Kebede for this for your presentation. And there are some comments. Sumaru, referring back, thanks, people who shared their appreciation for his presentation. Actually, he would like to say thanks to those who contributed to building his plan by providing constructive and valuable feedback. And Patrick Obongi says, good work. So thank you, Gezahegn. Any further comments from the group? We do have some people on Facebook who are following along and who are also invited to share their comments on the Facebook Live page that I will then be able to share back with you. All right, so let's now go to Isabel Navarro. But before we do that, thanks, Catherine. I keep forgetting to do this. Gezahegn, we'd like to ask you two questions. One is, what was the single biggest change that you made between the initial version and then the one you finalized? And second, what's the next step for you? What are you going to be able to do with this plan to move it forward?
Yeah, the single most change that I made was the visual, and the picture that I showed you at the right hand corner at the top was as a result of a comment that I got, because there wasn't much of a visual expression. So although a lot of words have said, like partnership is not just the work of one or the other, but it takes two sides. So I tried to really emphasize and amplify that. So I think that's one. What am I going to do? Definitely, this has given me, of course, it's not an easy thing to do. And as I said, I am dealing with multiple levels of partnership. Partnership with individual, members, as well as with the forums, as I mentioned. So I think in dealing with each of the forums, I'm trying to really disseminate some of the learnings that I've gotten, and also to strengthen my own office from the perspective of the languages. As I said, the communication in multiple languages. So I didn't have someone who speaks French and Portuguese in my office at all. So I'm now in the process of getting someone who would help me, who is in the French bit of it. Of course, it's difficult to get a Portuguese, but in our newsletter and all that, for looking into some communication tools, we'll try to really make sure that the gaps that I have identified through this process would in one way or another be addressed by going through the process. That's basically what I feel.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right. Regina Florando says, clear presentation, good use of PowerPoint. Elizabeth Miendo, again, very informative and enlightening. Will borrow a lot on impact. Shamnaz Ahmed, thanks a lot. It's a very detailed plan considering bigger challenges of language, culture, and communication. Thanks for your presentation. A very interesting partnership scenario. Patricia Mwaikenda, great. Gezaheg, looking forward for a strengthened partnership, a member too. And Catherine says, thanks, Gezaheg. I now appreciate your challenge better. Great. So now, Isabel Navarro, I'm going to first activate your microphone. And it seems like you're getting some feedback. So if you have a headset that you can use, that's probably preferable. And here, or otherwise, if you can lower the sound. And I'm now giving you presenter rights, so you'll see a prompt to actually share your screen. If you'd like to go ahead and do that, just accept the prompt so that we can see your screen. Yes. Wonderful. Maria, can you speak? We haven't heard you yet. How are you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm Isabel Navarro, the Food Security Livelihoods Advisor of Save the Children in UK, but I'm currently in the Philippines waiting for the next deployment. So basically, my remote management plan is called Reviving Northwest Syria Agriculture through Remote Partnership. Text SC means Save the Children. So basically, Save the Children and this local organization called ABC, we have been working with them since 2015. And the main project is basically on providing emergency food distributions for Northwest Syria. So before, since 2015, the partnership was very simple. Save the Children would just send food aid packages to the Turkish-Syrian border, and then the local partner receives them and then delivers it to the IDP camps in Northwest Syria. However, starting last year, the donors have been shifting now towards what we call as early recovery phase. So no more of the emergency phase, but going towards the next level. So what Save the Children wanted to do was to pilot a agriculture project. We wanted to revive the agriculture sector because we really believe that IDPs needs to be productive from the places where they come from. And basically, in some parts in Northwest Syria, a lot of villages are already relatively secure, that people can go back and plant again. So for this partnership with ABC, it's crucial to Save the Children simply because Save the Children, we do not have access inside Northwest Syria. And we also have a mandate that we need to support our local partner, a continuous support in terms of up to 5 years. And then given that we are already in partnership with ABC, their reputation is good and they're actually well received by the beneficiaries and by the communities. We have decided that going with ABC for this project would be very ideal. Challenges. Basically, food security and livelihoods and the early recovery is new to ABC. They have never done this before. So the challenge for Save the Children and with ABC is we need to provide them with a next level guidance to increase the capacity of ABC, to make sure that they efficiently and effectively carry out the new project inside Syria. So the objective of my remote management plan was to develop a roadmap to support ABC in increasing its capacities to implement the pilot project following Save the Children standards and procedures. So when I was doing the implementation plan, I have to remember the one on the right corner of the presentation. I always need to remember that since this is a pilot project and the partner has never done this before, that I need to keep it simple. I need to make sure that it's easy to understand by everyone. It also needs to be realistic because I need to factor in the partner's strengths and competencies, not only based on the strengths of Save the Children. I also have to consider learning curve because people understand things differently. Some understand it fast, some understand a little bit low. And I need to make sure that each activity needs to have measurable outputs. Otherwise, it will become a vicious cycle of people just doing activities as being told by the donor. So for each activity, I have a clear output. I need to identify who are involved, especially who are responsible and who are accountable for each activity. It needs to have also a specific time frame, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it needs to be clear on communication means. So it can be Skype, internet, face-to-face, workshops, web workshops as well. And this is the fifth one is very important, and this is based also from practice, that it's not only about telling the local partner what to do, but to show to them exactly how to do it, because people interpret things differently. So it would be really good from the remote management plan to make sure that it is very clear to the partner how things should be done, like a step-by-step process. So for the implementation plan itself, the first thing that I needed to do was to review and update the partner organizational capacity assessment. Normally, we always have we call it an OCA. We have a assessment by our partnership team to make sure what is the status of the local organization in terms of finance, logistics, organizational setup, and so on and so forth. So I need to review that to make sure that I exactly know what are the weaknesses and the strengths of the local partner. It should also be clear that it is not only with the partner who should be looked upon, but also Save the Children as well. It is not because I am the donor that I know everything, and they also need to be evaluated to make sure that what I am doing, the capacity building I am doing to the partner, is according also to what based on their expectations. And then basically from there, identify the partnership objectives, like what's in it for the local partner to do the project, what's in it for Save the Children to do this project, and then afterwards we need to agree and sign a partnership agreement. And then next is basically the kick-off meeting and the support staff recruitment. And then next is a detailed project staff orientation. This orientation also includes a detailed work plan, wherein it's clear on, again, who are involved, whose responsibility it is, and what documents are required. And the fifth one is a continuing capacity building to project staff. This is based on my experience that most often local international NGOs tend to give the training at the start of the project, and then we expect our local partners to be able to memorize everything that we train them at the start. So it is actually should be planned well that the capacity building should be done all throughout. I'm sorry, it's only 6 weeks.
Yep.
minutes.
So you are, yes, thank you very much, Isabel. Yeah, so we have 2 questions for you. The first one about the change. What is the single biggest change that you made between your initial version and the final version of your plan? And second, what is for you the next step in taking this plan forward?
Okay. There wasn't not much change in the final version. I am very happy to receive very good feedback.
Just sorry, but yeah, your microphone is picking up the audio. So could I ask you to turn down your sound so that we don't get the 2 mixed up? That was a problem during your presentation.
Okay. So basically, there was not much change in the final plan. I'm actually very happy with the feedback that I received, and I really appreciated it. As to the next plan, basically the plan that I'm doing is currently being implemented since late of last year when we got a new Europe Aid project. So the plan itself is what we are currently implementing, and I hope that through this I'll be able to, like, to advocate for more of such plans at at our headquarters in UK, to make sure that we can come up with a guide that when we have projects that are on remote management, that these can be used as tip sheets for the project team and the country offices to use and to consider.
Okay. Thank you very much, Isabel, and thank you to all our presenters. I would like to join Claire O'Gara's message, she says, congrats to all of you all who completed the course. Thank you to those who were brave enough to present your projects. They were all concise but informative. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening. Sumaru says, looks good and interesting about Isabel's presentation. So back to you, Catherine, to close this commencement event, even though we already know that there is going to be a continuation, a commencement with the level 2 certification. So you'll need to unmute yourself, of course. And I'm going to turn our webcams back on. So you can now share your webcams again, as this is the last time we'll be getting together for this course, at least. Yeah, so Catherine, back to you.
Thanks, Reda. So if you've not seen the information on level 2, we've posted it on this GoToTraining site, so you can access the document which gives you information. But it's just to say that we're very delighted to make this opportunity available. And it is available due to the funding that we now have to do this. And so it's a rare opportunity to be able to take what you've done from level 1 and really take it that next step. We know that most of you are going to be implementing those plans. And if you're able to devote some additional time over a 4-month period, you have the opportunity to then get a certificate for your competence as a remote practitioner. And so the information will tell you that we were originally starting in May. We're now going to start in June to give you a little bit of breathing space, because we know you've spent quite a bit of time on your projects today. So, we will be taking registrations till May 9th, but the program won't start till the 4th. And then that will take you 4 months into September. So you do have quite a bit of time to complete the work. It's largely work that you'll be conducting by yourself. You'll get some support from your peers and from the course organizers. So do look at the information, and we do encourage you to apply because we think it's a rare opportunity to be able to do the 2 together. So that's it from me, and I would just, first of all, we're getting a question. Yeah? Yeah. So this is the occasion where there is no cost to any of you, which is why we're encouraging you to do this, because the cost will actually begin from the next delivery. So this is the only time you'll be able to get it for free. So if you do want to do it, we'd really encourage you to take up this opportunity now. So if you want any more information, do let us know. We can send you some more information on this. And then the 2 documents you'll need to submit, which will be the remote action plan that you've already developed, plus the professional journal that you'll be asked to write. And if English is your second language and you struggle with writing, that's not a problem either, because we recognise that that it can be a challenge and it will not be an obstacle to you reaching level 2. So that's it from me. I just want to thank you so much for attending today, and the presentations were really illuminating and really helped to bring the flavour and diversity of the work that's been produced. And also a thank you also to all of you, but also to Reda, who's just been a stalwart presence 24/7, answering questions in the middle of the night at times. I don't know if he ever found the time to sleep. So that's it from me, and just wishing you the best, and especially in your endeavours and implementing your plans. And you're actually contributing to remote partnering being a more effective way of working. And I hope that we'll connect in some way in the future. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Catherine. Before we go, we have some messages from the Facebook Live feed. So very good presentation by Shamar and Sumar, following Angezehegn. And then from an operational perspective, the plan by Isabella is excellent. That's it. Thank you, Catherine. I also want to thank and recognize Catherine's contribution and effort and dedication. She is part of the team and one of the key, together with Roz Tennyson, two women whose vision of the need for this remote partnering course and figuring out actually how to make it happen. Yes, so I very much want to share my gratefulness with her, with Roz, and with all of you who are part of this inaugural experience. I'm hoping that future cohorts will do at least as well as you have this time. Take care. And I'm now going to unmute everyone so we get to hear lots of noise from offices all over the world. Just offices and homes all over the world. Mr. Sid, if you'd like to turn on your webcam and say goodbye. Dina Florendo says, thanks everyone. Hope to meet you somewhere sometime. Patricia Moikenda, very much appreciation to the team. Lauren Murray, thanks all. Yemen Salam, thanks all. Great to see you, and congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to those of you who presented and to everyone involved.
Sorry. Yeah, I know. I've copied James's procedure reports and reasons that need to be done. Okay, I see. But he can collect the hotel on it, so I'm leaving it the same as his, just so that it's not confusing.
It sounds like some of you are already back at work, so good luck with your work. And